Now, I did also want to get into the podcast with you guys, if you do not mind. I like to call it the Frenemies podcast, but it's called Karma and Chaos. Okay. Kail and Becky. Hang on. There's a lady, I don't know where she went. If you're here, please make yourself known. But there's a lady who likes to yell at me about like putting timestamps. So now I have to like do these timestamps as I go so she doesn't yell at me. She's kind of funny. So they were on this podcast together, right? And they're always beefing. Like, when like people are like, ha ha, making jokes, but like the jokes are like kind of ugly. Like, oh, you're ugly. Oh, you're this, you're that, you're stupid. These are like the kind of jokes where you're like, babe, are you joking? This is the stuff that was going on in this podcast, okay? So there was this moment where Becky is talking about like books that she's reading, right? And I'm trying to find the moment for you guys, okay?
I mean, you read different books than I do.
Yeah, here we go. So she's talking about these books that she's reading and how one of the girls in like a character has a name similar to Kail's name, but it's not exactly Kail's name. Take a listen to how this conversation turns out, okay? It was reminiscent of Joe telling Kail back in the day that it's a lovely day. She doesn't deserve to enjoy it. She should be in a cave.
And I saw an interview, or it was of someone on a podcast, and she calls him Chawl. Because like she just read the book. But like if you've never heard, like don't know how it's said. Like
she didn't listen to the audio.
No.
I'm waiting for the day that someone names a character or their baby after me. Because it's gonna happen. That was really close to Kail. It was so close.
And she was too stunned to speak.
I've been telling all the authors she wants them to name a character after.
Well, why haven't they? Why haven't they?
I mean, I guess you listen to like, I mean, you read different books than I do, but I just imagine a fairy named Kail, and I'm like, that doesn't.
She was a fairy.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wait, so you think I'm a fairy?
No, I don't. I think you would more belong in like a swamp.
Thriller. Not the swamp.
So there you go. She's like, no, girl, I'm sorry, but no, I don't see you as a fairy. You're someone that belongs in a swamp.
Shrek. Just call me Fiona.
You said a thriller?
And so Kail is like, okay, so call me Shrek, then call me Fiona, sort of a deal. And I'm like, listen, Becky's funny, but she does this a lot to Kail. Like she negs Kail a lot, you guys, right? And you guys already know how I feel about like the way that she calls Kail out whenever Kail's on her BS and whatnot, and some other things that she said about her. But sometimes I gotta be honest with you, it kind of low key is giving. Are you joking for real, girl? Because you see a lot of these sorts of things. By the way, good morning, Steph. Nice to see you. And there was a couple more comments that were interesting to me. So throughout this entire episode, she was complaining about the fact that Kail was quote unquote ignoring her FaceTime calls, her messages and whatnot. She really had a bone to pick with her about this. And this is not the first time. I do remember coming on here and talking about this another time in the past. And so she do you remember when like the Elijah news broke and then Becky dropped everything, including her pregnant wife, to go to Delaware and be there for Kail and her kids? Well, after she had returned back home from that and she was trying to get back in contact with Kail was ignoring her calls and her messages. And so she was calling her out about that on air, right? So take a listen to Becky kind of low-key, high-key threatening to end their friendship and whatnot.
Basically,
over that.
Kail's been ignoring me for a little bit, and
that is not true.
It has been true, which is fine. Like you're busy, I'm busy. It's okay. But it was funny because you hadn't been answering my text messages, and Leah.
That's literally not true.
Okay.
I'm pulling them up right now.
And Leah had texted her after she hadn't answered me, and I thought to myself, if she doesn't answer Leah, I'm like, that's it. I'm terminating this friendship. But you're lucky because you did.
She did. She answered Leah, but not you.
Yeah.
I'm literally.
So there you go. Like if you did not answer my wife, that would have been the last straw for me in the friendship. And, you got to be careful with these types of people, right? Like, I'm not saying Becky's a bad person or anything, but there are some people who are a little bit passive aggressive. They mean the things that they're telling you, but they're afraid of confrontation or something. So they'll pass it off as a joke. She's not joking. When you bring this up like 5 times in the span of how many minutes we were 13 minutes into the podcast, and she had mentioned 5 times, Kail's ignoring me, Kail's ignoring me, Kail's ignoring me, Kail's screening my messages, she's screening my calls, she's ignoring my FaceTimes. You're not joking, boo. And then when you say, oh, like, I was testing you, calling from my wife's number. If you don't answer from my wife, this friendship's over, girl. Listen, I don't call this the Frenemies podcast for no reason. They are exchanging real shade. And you're telling your friend she doesn't sound like a princess. She should be in a swamp. It's giving Joe, early Joe. What do you guys think about this so far? Tanisha says Becky's just there for the check and lifestyle. Loki feels like it. Acacia says Kail's busy spending time with her new man. Get over it, Becky. And you know what? I do think it comes down to that. It's speaking of that new man. Kail was saying that she went to one of those like rooms where you break everything, like a rage room. Essentially, she went to her therapist. She is still torn up over Javi and Chris exposing her and this new man of hers, you guys. Like, she's down bad over it. And did I lie? Did I effing lie? She dropped that wife like a freaking bad habit 1,000,000 times over to be there for Kail. And that's why she goes rabid. Anytime Kail misses a call or this, oh my God, she sounds very clingy as a friend. I'm not even going to lie. Like, right? Like calling your friend a damn, that's crazy on air. And that's not the first time she said something really rude about, listen, Kail, and I know you like watching my stuff, girl. Remember when she included me in her lawsuit against Brianna? I'm like, girl, you have me blocked and you're including me in a lawsuit against Brianna. Anyway, Kail, listen, your friends don't like you. I'm just going to say that. Becky has been dragging you low-key since y'all dropped this podcast. That's why I call it the Frenemies podcast, okay? Where was I going with that? And your other friend, Matt Matthews. Y'all, Matt, the way this man fat shames her all the time. So they were trying to like get this thing off the ground, like some kind of farm chore show. And it actually hurts my feelings, y'all. Listen. I'm not a juicy girl, right? I'm not. However, I feel like I'm under attack when this man talks to her. Okay. Like he'll be like, oh, like move your big ass. Like, you know, your big self, your big back. Like he'll be calling this girl big, fat, like 1,000 times per video. And I'm like, girl, how do you, oh my God, like the way I would crash out over this. And this guy like casually feels okay talking to you like this as a friend, but as a man too, like that's crazy. You got one talk about you're an ogre, like you're like a fake friend, like you're this, you're that. You only like people when you need them, blah, blah, blah. And you got the other one calling you big every 2 seconds. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm sorry. It might be time to clean up house, boo. Just says to me, Kail always sounds mad and pissed off in her podcast. Yeah, she always sounds so hostile. Like it's her way of speaking that is so difficult, right? Like not difficult, but it's so harsh in general, right? Kaylin says that she's the dragon that fell in love with Donkey. Listen, I got to catch up because I think I've only seen like maybe 2 Shreks, but I only remember the first one because I actually rewatched it recently. I really like that. I loved the soundtrack so much. Can I tell you guys something? And it's kind of embarrassing. And you know, I was talking to somebody this morning. I went out for breakfast with somebody this morning. And I was talking about like how like, you know, we know like, and it sounds so parasocial, but it kind of like is like how like I feel like we know each other because I'm always like spilling the tea on myself and y'all are spilling the tea on yourselves too. Cough, cough, Jenna, Gail. But a lot of you guys, like we like to share stories, right? And so I was like, oh, like blah, blah, blah. They know all these stories, all these like crazy, like funny, kind of embarrassing stories about me. Let me tell you an embarrassing story about me involving Shrek. We had, and I remember it like yesterday, in like the 3rd grade, y'all, I used to suck my thumb for so long until like the 5th, 6th grade, I want to say, y'all. And so, but I wouldn't do it at school because in school I was grown. And so we had movie days, like, you know, once a month at school, right? And so once we were watching Shrek and I was so excited and my mom gave me like my $2 so I could buy my barbecue chips and my little soda. And so we're watching it and I finished my chips and my soda. And I'm getting sleepy and the movie's looking too good. And like, I completely forgot where I was. I thought I was at home, y'all. I started sucking my thumb in the gym and this girl, the auditorium, and this girl's like, Grace, you suck your thumb. I said, how did this get in here? No, I don't. Embarrassing. Steph says, not gonna lie, the G in Grace stands for gangsta. Never forget it. I'll never forget Kail including you in that lawsuit. She was triggered, right? I'm like, girl, you have me blocked. What are you doing watching my stuff? That's crazy. What are you talking about? You know, so weird. Remember the way I made that video, girl? Like, get out of here. Like, I said the same stuff about you. I said, you fall out with everybody. Now put that in your lawsuit and smoke it. Acacia says, I didn't know Matt's. Yeah, he does. He's really mean to her. And he says stuff about the kid. Like that guy. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a nice person and this is like a certain form of humor. But to me, I don't like when men get aggressive with women. I don't care if you're gay, straight. You're not about to get aggressive with me. I'm still a woman at the end of the day. Like, do not talk to me or my bosoms like that. And then he'll break, like, no, I don't like it. It's very try hard to me. I'm not a fan. And again, this man calls her big every other word. And I'm like, that's not okay. Honestly, I really don't like. And you guys know I'm watching my Vanderpump Rules in reverse. The way that people have spoken about Katie's body over like 2.5 going on 3 seasons has been so enraging to see. I don't think the consequences were big enough for that, and Katie's a little bit older than myself, but I'm a 90s girl. And I remember like the early 2000s and stuff and how like the heroin chic of it all and like how like that was so formative and just damaging to me, like a lifelong damage to myself and other women. And so to see somebody like another woman go through that like consistently and whatnot, like it boils my blood for her. Like I hate that so many people spoke to her like that. She was perfect the way that she was. And yet they treated like, and even if she was like overweight or whatever, who cares? Like, why is this an insult to people? Just, but that's another rant for another day. But it really pisses me off to watch that back. Kristen says, that's how Matt always talks. He has a weird comedy approach, right? Like, yeah, like I get that it's his comedy or whatever, but I find it a little bit aggressive. I personally would not take too kind to it. I do not want my friends calling me no big backs, no nothing like that. Absolutely freaking not. Like, do not comment on my body at all. Shelby says, unless you're throwing BBL allegations, then whatever. Then we could talk. Shelby says, do people in your real life watch your lives? Yeah, they do. So my sister likes to watch from time to time, and my bestie Julie likes to watch as well. She's probably watching now. She likes to watch. Like it's always like on the side as she's working. So shout out to my Julesy. And for the rest, it's kind of secret. A lot of people didn't even know I was on YouTube until like they came to my house and they saw this like plaque. They're like, girl, what? Shrek is one of my favorite movie series of all time. You watch them weekly. How many are there, girl? Oh my God, that's crazy. Kahara says, but it's so good. Kahara says, we went to see Shrek in theaters for a field trip back in the day. You remember when it came out, didn't you? It was so groundbreaking to me. It was amazing. My first movie that I ever saw in movie theaters was Finding Nemo. I loved it so much. Gail says, Jess, I agree with you 100%. Gag it. Joyce says LMFAO. She did me dirty. She screamed it. I was like, girl, keep it down. Shut up. I hate it because Katie looked like a bat. Yeah, she's so beautiful. And that girl's brows, you can only pray for her brows, her lashes, she's so beautiful. She really is. I hate it. Looked like a baddie. She had curves and was the best looking one on that cast. The rest of the cast looks like damn, not the ground ones. Damn, she's so beautiful. But I still find Sheena to be so stunning to me too. And I used to find Stassi to be super, super, super beautiful. But then I learned a lot about her personality, and it kind of went away from me. Hey, Star, there's 4. Listen, I gotta catch up. I think I've only seen 2 of them. Gail says, it's okay, Grace. Jenna used to suck the thumb all the time when she was younger, all the way to she was 10 years old. So she was about the same age as me. It was so hard for me to stop. They had to put like retainers in my mouth and then braces for me to finally stop. But it was just such a security blanket, y'all. It was. Anyway, look, y'all, it looks like we're really going to be over. This might be a 2-hour morning report. So sorry in advance if you're running late for other things.